Welcome to the Coffee Club, broadcasting live from New York with your host, Felix, and co-host, Dr. Mark. So let's have a cup of coffee and enjoy the show.
There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What you just heard is the Long Island Railroad passing by, and I know which world I'm living in. I'm living in the dark side of the, whatever the hell he's talking about. Good evening, my name is Felix. I'm here tonight with my guest host who likes to make noise whenever I go on the air. When he knows he's not supposed to, he starts moving chairs, banging things around.
Hey, listen, because
because
you're in a crappy mood here. Don't take it out on me.
Just because you're an unpaid, unqualified intern.
Well, you're right about both those things.
Well, that's right. And guess what? And I'm an untrained, unqualified host. So there.
And if anybody wants to dispute that, just ask his wife. Speaking of which,
talk about my wife. No.
Today's topic actually is.
Should you just shoot him or her? Is it worth it?
Now you can tell the kind of day that Felix has had.
You know, this whole show that's been out the last couple of weeks has just turned out to be a gripe show for me to let out my frustrations. While I'm on
I would rather have you let out your frustrations on the air rather than do it the way you've been doing it before you signed on.
Yeah,
well, that's me.
I could do it on the air just as well as I could do it off the air. When I had the studio set up, my chair has a special hole in it.
I know, you have a direct line to the bathroom.
Exactly. Other people have direct lines to the president's office. I have a direct line to the flusher. And
Felix also has a catheter on, so he probably never has to leave his chair. He's got both ends covered now.
I'm agitated, I'm aggravated, I'm mad, I'm pissed off, I'm not happy. And those are the positive things I am. You don't want to hear the negative parts.
Well, let's start by saying that Felix is in the middle of withdrawal from his medication of 20 years. Through no fault of his own or the pharmacist, I guess.
A little bit of everybody's fault.
Except mine, because I don't live here. But he likes to blame me anyway.
Well, you listen. My wife will hit you with a baseball bat. You won't.
Now, the point being, folks, is that Felix hasn't really slept very much. He just started eating again after a few days. I would say that he lost weight, but who knows? He may have a thyroid problem. We're not sure because even though the tests are negative, what can I say? But the point being that he's been having this running argument with his wife for well over a week now, closer to 10 days actually, and it's been affecting his work here on Blog Talk Radio. I've been trying to handle things in the best way I can, but I just keep getting an argument from him. But we want all of you to weigh in on this. Love and marriage.
Love and marriage.
Is it worth the aggravation?
At what point do you not give in anymore? At what point do you just say, it's enough, you can't keep doing this, or you can't get away with this any longer? And this goes for husband and wife. I mean, the divorce rate in the United States is about 50% right now in marriages.
And for second marriages, it's even closer to 75%, because you figure for second marriages, what you have is you have stepchildren involved, so it makes it very difficult to blend families together. But, and in fact, I had this conversation with a friend of mine just yesterday. when you think of how much people spend on weddings, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, knowing that the rate of divorce in first marriages is 50%, does it pay to put everybody through that? Why go through the expense? My idea would be that they take the bulk of that money and put a down payment on an apartment or a small house and just have a small party, just family members attend, and you want to give a party after that, fine, but you don't have to go crazy.
That's true, Mark. And I think one of the big reasons there is such a high amount of divorce is, number one, it's more accepted now. Years back, the religion held you back, tradition held you back.
The big thing about 30 years ago was irreconcilable differences. When you just couldn't live together anymore, it became irreconcilable differences. Nowadays, and usually at that point, one of either husband or wife was busy having an affair, and they would rake the other one over the coals. Nowadays, everything is pretty much split 50-50. If there are no children involved, it's very easy. You just split the assets and you go your separate ways.
There used to be a bad connotation. A divorcee used to be a bad word.
Well, because it was always used to describe the woman, and if a woman was a divorcee, she was considered to be rather loose.
Exactly.
Sort of like your gas problem.
I'm sorry. It's the first good laugh I had in a couple of days, so unfortunately it just happens to be.
Yeah, but I'm suffering.
It's coming out of both ends at the same time while I'm laughing. I'm sorry. This is not supposed to be. This is just not supposed to be part of the show.
Well, then control yourself.
I wish
You realize the more you laugh, the more you're going to fart. You know that, don't you? It's not going to stop.
Listen, if anybody is alive, please give us a call at 646.
Yeah, I'd like to have
595.
I'd like to have Felix shut his mouth and his sphincter.
Let me finish telling the phone number: 646-595-3275. And
Dan, that means you.
Or anybody else, and bring some sanity into this conversation, because I'm not sure if this is the direction we wanted to go. But I'm all out of gas. I'm tired now.
You're all out of gas? What kind of gas?
I'm tired.
Well, for you, that would be something positive, because maybe you could actually go to sleep.
That's true. But let me go back to my feelings. There are times, the reason why divorce rates are so high, I think, is people haven't learned how to compromise and really talk about things, discuss things. It's always easier to walk away from a situation than resolve it. And with the laws changing and divorces being more acceptable, it's just an easy way of getting out of a marriage.
You really have to thank young people for that, because the bottom line is, older people, mainly people our age who have been married for 30 plus years, we tend to work on things to, rather than just walk away, because we have too much invested, in a marriage. But young people, if they can't make a go of it in the first 5 to 7 years or even 10 years, as long as there are no children involved, it's very easy for them to just go their separate ways and start all over again.
Plus, it's much harder for us. We're settled, we're already used to all the abuse, and we're used to giving the abuse. And I hate to say, but at our age, it almost seems normal, while the young people still realize that it's not normal.
Well, yeah, because usually you have two young people coming into a union where each one is used to being their own boss, not really having to answer to anyone other than themselves, and sometimes they find it difficult to start answering to someone else.
I mean, how many times have you heard of people where there's a lot of spousal abuse, physical or mental, and people stay together and live together because...
Yeah, but you see, that's wrong.
I didn't say it's right.
You know, trying to stay together like that when there's a definite problem, such as verbal abuse or physical abuse, I mean, and it's usually husband on wife.
Either way,
no, the physical abuse is usually husband on wife. The verbal abuse could be either way.
I think the physical could be either way. I've known it both ways. But my point is, as a human being, we are creatures of habit, and even though the grass is always greener on the other side, most people are afraid to take that step to the other side of the grass. Wow. to go across the street.
Well, it's human.
So they let me please talk. Stop interrupting. Thank you, Dr. Mark. He's not used to me talking all the
time.
Shut
up or I'll fart in your face. I'd like to get some laughs out of it, you know.
Hey, you can't, Mark. No matter what, remember, this is a show, and it's all an act. We can't be throwing things at each other, literally, and breaking the equipment. See, that's the difference between a professional and an amateur. The professional doesn't get rattled. The amateur gets rattled just because he gets farted in the face a few times.
Well, there's a limit to how many farts one can take, you know. I mean, I have to come up for air. This is terrible.
No, you gotta be a little more controlling. You can't tap on the...
I have to be controlling?
Yes, you cannot. You gotta, no matter what, it's broadcasting. That means no tapping on the table, no scratchy microphones.
Hey, look, this is a serious topic. Come on.
Where? No, I'm serious. You can't. You know, we can't go da 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 da. People hear all that, so we even we can make fun of each other. We can say things, but we have to learn to control our bodily movements. And the difference between me and Mark and me is you can't hear my bodily movements. So I can get away with it easier than he can. And I think Mark is just about ready to kill somebody.
No, I'm really ready to leave.
You got to get a little closer to the microphone.
Oh, I'm sure they heard me. I said I want to leave. I'll let you handle the show.
I'm not doing the show. You think we're live? We never went on yet.
Okay.
Okay, anyway. So things happen, you know, and as we get older, we wind up tolerating it more, and we take more. Up to a point, and when you, like Mark said, when you're younger, you won't take it.
Well, but, you know, as long as there are only two people involved, and I'm not talking about, you know, your situation, mine, or somebody our age, because by now the kids are generally out of the house, so it doesn't make a difference. But when you're younger, people generally just pick up and split, you know, whatever they have, walk away, and this way, you know, they each go their separate way, and they learn from their mistakes.
It's true, but unfortunately, you know, most people don't learn from the mistakes. That's why most people that get married, then they get remarried, and they.
Well, you know, back in the 50s, you know, religion had a lot to do with it. The church was so dead set against divorce. I mean, they still are now, but they're a little bit more lenient. because so many so-called good Catholics are getting divorced.
Because they have no choice. They have to, listen, no matter what you are, who you are, you have to move along with the times. I just asked him to call him, that's all. This is a different message.
Oh.
Nosy. Mark, I'm at a loss for words today. Can you believe that? But anyway.
No, I think what you got to do is fart again, and that clears your head so that you could actually continue.
Well, most of us do get used to things, and we do become complacent. And somebody else in the same situation will probably say, "How can you take that? How can you tolerate this?" And you say to them, "What are you talking about?" After a while, you don't even realize what situation you're really in.
Well,
And I don't know if that's good or bad.
Hey, listen, the end result is always if we all put our problems into a hat, we wind up picking our own situation back again because people by nature are afraid of change.
Which, as I was saying before, the grass may be greener, but are you willing to take that plunge into the greener grass?
Look, you don't know what goes on behind somebody's closed door. We all think that the next guy may have the perfect marriage, the perfect relationship, but, you don't live there 24/7, so you don't know what goes on. It might just be a front, okay? I would be more suspect of people who always seem to be snuggly and cuddly and rosy with each other, even in public, as opposed to once in a while maybe disagreeing, in public. Most people, they get angry. I mean, they don't want to put on a whole big act, I mean, so what if I'm angry,
That's true, Mark. You're absolutely 100% correct. And there's a button here, how to turn on the headset on the phone.
No for the next time.
No for the next time.
Well, the guy told you plug it in and it works, right?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't tell you to press the button now, did he?
Yep.
But you're the technical guy. You should know this stuff.
Well, I just figured it out. It took me an hour to figure it out.
That's right. After looking at the phone for an hour, you finally saw the little headset on here.
And I finally figured out that you have to talk into the phone in order for somebody else on the other side to hear you. But you also have to dial the number first.
That's true. Live and learn, ladies and gentlemen. What can I tell you?
So anyway, maybe there is hope, even for some hopeless old goats like us.
You never know. You never know.
But we do, we can't, Mark and I think actually Mark did get a little angry at me for a couple of seconds there, because I'm not, I don't know if he was in and out or just putting on an act, but it's okay to be angry. And
I don't know, but I just noticed that I forgot to put my wedding band on. I had just put it on because before I came here, I washed the dish. Oh. I always take my rings off when I wash, so.
But it's okay to be angry. It really is. But you have to learn something that I haven't learned yet. I can't always control myself. I'm not violent in any way, but I will, physically violent, and I'm not actually. I don't think what you would call I do would be verbally violent either, but I will raise my voice and express my opinion. I don't.
Well, you know what they say about that. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them. To be truthful.
Yeah, and the way I feel right now, I feel like I have a couple of assholes because one is not enough.
No, you got one, and it's all coming out that one end.
Because I feel like I'm taking abuse. I want to give you.
I'm the one taking abuse here tonight. What are you talking about?
What do you expect? You're the intern. You're the crony. You're the one that likes to make noise on the show for some reason and play with things.
Let's get back to the topic.
There is no topic. This is the coffee club where. And listen, the topic of the day was supposed to be something intelligent. What was it supposed to be?
It was supposed to be the Keystone Pipeline. Are you for or against it? What are the pros and cons?
Well, the problem is everybody's talking about that stuff. How many people are talking about this kind of stuff? what's better is how many people are actually going to listen to this kind of stuff.
Well, according to our statistics here, I don't think anybody's listening to this stuff tonight.
Yeah. But it's always a surprise. And I was supposed to get a surprise caller today. And I guess the surprise is...
The surprise is that nobody's calling.
The surprise caller is not calling. So...
Well, it could also be the fact that we signed on like 45 minutes late.
Yeah, it's true. Right now, I'm questioning my surprise caller. Where's my surprise? And he just answered me. That was your surprise. Surprised I'm not calling.
Oh, well.
That takes care of that idea.
So it's just you and me, Felix.
Just you and me back together. But I'm going to give you a little bit of background of why I'm very angry. And I understand there's always two sides to every story. And but unfortunately, my wife wouldn't get on here, so you'll only hear my side, the right side.
The right side.
Well, that's what happens.
I mean, I happen to agree with you, but when you say that,
we happen to live in a nice, cozy 2-bedroom apartment.
Wait a second. The people think that we have a great studio here.
No, we're not talking about the studio. The studio's. What does the studio have to do with where I live?
Well, where are we now?
In the studio.
Oh, let me look. Let me look around. Sorry.
But anyway.
I think I'm smoking those little funny cigarettes,
Anyway, so I think it's a nice sized cozy apartment, and it's a little bit, me being semi-retired, it's a little bit of a expense for us that I can't really afford.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, your wife is on disability. She has cancer,
mm-hmm.
and she can't work. So, income has gone down, and I certainly can identify with that because, when my wife got into a car accident, she had to go on disability, and she was making as much money as me as a teacher. So our income was cut in half.
Well, I'm not here. I'm not proud to say proud of it, not proud. I lost my house. I lost everything through bankruptcy, a personal and business. So at 60 years old, trying to start fresh, it's almost impossible. So
you could have been a pimp. You could have had like 60-year-old women,
I still can. What do you mean I could have?
At $5 a pop,
I still can. And you could probably figure, with people 60 years old, you can probably get 120 pops a minute.
Oh, let's get serious again. Come on. That was me. That was on me. Okay.
Okay, so anyway, let's go back to what I was saying. What was I talking about?
You think I'm listening?
Oh.
About your bankruptcy.
I went through a lot of stuff, and I lost everything. Reason being is, for whatever reason it is, it really doesn't matter. But no matter what the reason for something like that, the effect is the same. You lose everything. You lose your home. It's a complete.
Boy, did that wake me up?
Yeah, I know. It's a complete lifestyle change when you go from making a decent salary, having a good salary,
That's true. We used to go out to dinner, and Felix would have a Rob Roy. Now he no longer has a Rob Roy. He has Diet Soda.
And we don't go out to dinner.
And we don't go out to dinner too much either.
Yeah, I can't really afford to go out to dinner. And we had this apartment, and the lease is up in a few. It was up about a month ago, and we were able to, with the help of the town of Hempstead, where we live, to get some housing for senior citizens at probably 1/3 to a quarter of the rent that we're paying now. So we would actually be able to live without completely getting rid of a little bit of savings that we have. So that's my sob story. So anyway, when it was time to come to sign the new lease, I had found an apartment which was much less expensive as a Silton town in Hempstead, but definitely was much smaller, less comfortable, less prestigious. It was for an old couple, not like us. We're not an old couple.
You're a young old couple.
We're young old couples. As a matter of fact, people got excited when they saw me.
Yeah, the young whippersnapper. Who's the young?
Exactly.
All the old
We
ladies.
have a phone call. Hold on.
All the old ladies put their teeth back in their mouth.
Exactly. Caller, can you hear us?
I hear you. I'm a little late. Calling
You're
in.
a little late.
Dan.
Dan, you're perfect because we only.
You're perfect. We started a little late.
Have you heard any part of our show?
No. Tell me the hot topic so I can chime in.
Well, I'll tell you. The topic is supposed to be.
It was supposed to be the Keystone Pipeline. However,
the new title is, Mark. I have to do something. So, would you mind telling him what the new title is?
No. You should only be here, Dan. I need oxygen. The man hasn't stopped farting since we started the show.
Oh, that was that. Well, too much information, but okay, I'll laugh.
And it's not even silent but deadly. It makes noise.
But it doesn't smell.
But the new topic is, basically love and marriage. Is it worth it? Does it pay anymore?
Or should you just shoot him or her?
Should you shoot each other?
And put him out of the misery,
I'm going to say that. I didn't see a topic train here, but if that's... hold on, I'm reading it now. I'm going to say, no, not worth it at all, period.
That what we were saying is back in the day when your dad got married, it's primarily because of religion. The church always frowned. They still do, for that matter. They frown upon divorce and everything like that.
Right.
But when we hit the '60s and the summer of love, 1968 or so, it was. Younger people were, forget it, they were living together or whatever, but usually if they got married and things didn't work out, and as long as there were no kids, they just walked away, split everything, and that was it. Right now the marriage rate is about 50%, the divorce rate is about 50%, and when you get married a second time with stepchildren, it's usually about 75% divorce rate because it's very hard, and as you know, to blend families.
Dr. Mark, you know what the problem is? I'm standing next to a woman here, but the problem is the women's right movement. They messed up everything.
See, now I disagree with you there. I think the women are right when they demand equal and fair, compensation in the workplace.
But you know what? The women's right movement. Look, we all respect women, but the women's right movement destroyed the family concept of, a man's supposed to be, we all want women to work and whatnot, but it destroyed the family base. It really did.
Well, you see, if I was listening to you for the first time, I would say that, you're in favor of keeping the wife at home and running the home and raising the children and everything, and, the husband would be the
beaver, But I don't mind women working, but they cause the problem in the workforce with making more money than a man, and who's taking care of the kids. The kids get disrupted in school, and
you see, that's where I differ from you, because I think equitable distribution of home life is good, because it's good for the kids to know that dad does certain things, mom does certain things, they do things together. Right. They share in responsibility. I agree with the fact that women are paid less than a man, and the reason that they used to get was, a man has to support a family. But maybe because I was a teacher and quite a few of my superiors, immediate bosses were women, it never really bothered me. I never really thought about it at all. They were doing the same job as me. Why shouldn't they be paid the same thing? If they had more credits than me, or
But you know what the problem is?
It's understandable that they would be paid more.
Well, you see, Dan, you know, Mark is talking about more traditional today's lifestyle. You're talking about the Leave It to Beaver days. Now,
Right.
just remember, when the wife stayed home, the mailman came and he visited the beaver, and that started the divorce rate to go up.
Right. That's where the divorce rate went up. Right.
You don't understand?
I didn't hear what you said.
So the mailman came over.
No, I have this on.
So the mailman came
Stop
over.
yelling.
So the mailman came over to visit the beaver when her husband was out, and that started raising the divorce rates.
You trying to be funny?
I guess now with you it's not working.
Well, you're trying, you said when the mailman comes over and visits the beaver, or which beaver are you talking about here? Leave It to Beaver or the
beaver?
You can't even be serious about something.
Did you understand me what I said, Dan?
I understood what you said. I understood very well what you said.
Okay. But anyway, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of my problem, Dan, so you understand. So I'm not going to talk about much about it. I'm not going to say who's right or wrong, even though I know I'm right and my wife is wrong. There's no question about it. And if
That's right. He's king of the castle.
Listen, if she was right, she'd come on the air and say I'm right. But she won't come on the show. She won't defend herself because she knows she's wrong, which means I'm right.
No, she doesn't want to have anything to do with the show, and sometimes I would tend to agree with her.
Well, she also doesn't want to do anything to do with me either, but who cares at this point? But anyway, we were up for the part that there was
Wait a second, he's talking to whoever is there.
Dan, you talking to somebody there?
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, I am. But what was the main topic tonight, anyways? I missed a lot. What was the main topic?
Well, it's marriage. How about that? We're talking about marriage.
The problems in marriage.
All right. Yeah, I got a guest caller going to come on in a few, but.
No. I hear a female voice, and I want her to chime in because
I want
to hear her. I want to hear the other side.
We need to hear one side of it.
Hey, listen. First of all, to be perfectly honest, I agree with a lot that the women have to say. Okay, I don't really agree with your father knows best type of lifestyle. Back in the 50s, where the woman always put on a dress. And she always looked perky when her husband came home after a day's work. I'm all in favor of splitting, household, household chores and everything. Taking the kids to soccer or doing the shopping or whatever. Because you can't expect a woman to work and then come home and then work again.
It's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You get me in a lot of trouble here. Yeah,
no,
I have a woman who's biting her lip right now who wants to rip all of us a new.
Well, why don't you put her on the show?
I can't see her ripping me another one because I'm on her side.
Well, put her on. Let's have. We'll give equal time to everybody.
Hey, listen, I would like to have somebody else other than,
when this show started, we would have been considered ultra leftist, aggressive.
I got a very angry woman who's biting her lip right now who wants to rip the phone out of my ear and chew us all to a-holes.
I want to rip all your jugulars out.
So put her on.
She's here. She's listening, tasting, and biting her lip.
Let's get the gloves on and let's go at it. Come on, woman, get on this phone.
Well, look, my friend Cindy wants to add a few words for all of us.
Cindy, hi.
She's listening.
Cindy, if you understand, we're just joking. This is not a serious. How should we?
No, I think you're very serious.
Well, I'm very serious that I'm angry. Yeah, but what I'm saying, we're This is not a, what's the name of that guy? Bill O'Ryan?
Well,
Bill O'Reilly.
look, I'm old.
Or one of those other...
Guys, I'm old school, you know. And my parents, like you're saying about divorce and stuff, no, to me, I tell them they are divorced. I said, get a divorce. Goodbye. You know,
hey,
they fight all the time, but they don't believe in that.
Dan,
they don't believe in it. But I say, why they fight all the time? And I said, my mother had a role. All right, here we go.
I understand what you're saying. Okay, when I was 16, well, for throughout their marriage, my parents always argued. It was never a big deal. But when I was 16, I once said to my dad, gee, people argue so much. Why don't you just get divorced? And he said, why don't you shut up? I love your mother. Okay? And the bottom line is, he did. And he still did to his dying day. She died 18 years ago, and he died 6 years ago.
Well,
okay? And the bottom line is, you'd like to have that kind of love. I mean, oh, stop it. But the bottom line is, my dad would argue, and then 10 minutes later, he'd be coming out and either saying he's sorry or he'd forget about it because, and my mother would say to him, why don't you take a long walk off a short pier, basically.
Well, the first thing is, Mark, most people, even when they get divorced, I think most people, even when they're getting divorced, still care for each other in certain ways, but they just can't.
Not really. I know. I only know of one couple who got divorced, and when they got divorced, my friend bought his wife a car. I said, what are you, crazy? I said, I'll marry you. Buy me a car. I mean, seriously.
You don't have to be able, you can care for somebody just like you can care for a family member, but yet you can't live with that family member. That could be the same thing with a husband and wife.
Well, sometimes it's true. Sometimes they just can't live together, but they do much better separately.
But they still care for each other and they worry about each other. What do you think, Cindy?
What?
I don't want to talk.
Well, my friend Cindy.
Are you on, Dan? Are you online right now? Are you online right now, Dan? Do you see the screen that says on the air and all that?
Not probably.
I guess not. Because you could also just type in the little thing to chat if you want to say something without being on the air. We have a chat room also there.
Are you on the computer?
I got a special guest, my friend Cindy, who wants to kill all three of us about marriage and divorce thing.
Kill all men.
Oh, you can talk out loud, Cindy. She wants to kill all of us.
Well, tell Cindy if it's easier for her, she can go in the chat room and just express her, just type in what she feels like. Even though we really don't bite, and we'd love to hear from her.
Yeah, I told her it's a coffee club, and you're supposed to relax and talk. It's not a fight. It's we're talking.
Only because you might spill the coffee.
Yeah, just again, we normally are not this. The problem is, we're normally too nice on the show, and we don't get any kind of interaction with the audience.
Hey, Mark, you married?
Me?
Yeah,
yes,
you.
Yes, I am.
I heard a female voice said you're a liar.
Why am I a liar?
Nobody's happy.
A female voice is whispering over you. Nobody's happy in a marriage.
He didn't say he was happy.
I didn't say I was happy.
He said
what we were saying, Cindy, was that when people are married as long as Felix and I, over 30 years, okay, the bottom line is it's harder to walk away. It's not really easier. It's easier when you're younger and there are no children, okay? Even though our kids are basically grown, even though I have 4 kids, my 2 sons still live at home, actually. The fact is that it's, when you have that much time invested in a relationship, okay, you try to work it out.
And also,
my wife and I fight like cats and dogs. We argue all the time.
Also, when they say you can't teach an old doing new tricks. It's true. I mean, most people in their once in their 50s, 60s, or older, they're afraid to go back out into the world and start all over again. They'd rather be in a situation they're familiar with. At least they know that tomorrow morning they'll know what's going to be and who's going to be next to them, and that comfort level keeps a lot of people from getting divorced. A lot of people probably shouldn't be married. That's the comfort level of an abuser, and why his wife doesn't leave. I mean, I could never figure out why the women who get abused don't leave. That one I could never figure out.
Well, when you say that you're coming down hard on all men, okay? Basically, what you're doing is you're shutting yourself out of the possibility. Now, I'm not saying that a woman is incomplete without a man, far from it, and vice versa. But the bottom line is, when a person is so negative, you never know when somebody might come along and you might change your opinion and change your views. Right now, there are a lot of people that are happy being alone, or they're used to being alone because they've been alone for quite a long time. I have a sister who has been divorced for, let's say, over 20, 25 years, okay? And she has a job, and she likes to go to the gym and do all kinds of things, and she's into physical fitness, and another person never really entered her life, and she's content to live that way, and that's fine, okay? Some people are happy that way. Some people crave the company of another person, okay, be it a female or a male. But you have to understand that when you bring somebody else into your life, there has to be compromise in some way. Some people are used to compromising. Other people just want it their way or the highway, and that's it.
One of the things that we on this show, Cindy, that we try to do is we keep anonymity. We don't use last names. We don't really want to know, except for the few conditions, who we're actually talking to, because I think it's the other person probably will more likely tell the truth, how they feel when there are no repercussions and they don't know who they're actually talking to. And what I'd like to know from you, Cindy, are you married?
Hello, me?
No,
I got a question for you guys. Why is it with I guess you guys know the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Well, why is it that a woman, when I guess the words are like, you look fine, it's a horrible thing to say, but why do women, a man will say you look great, you look beautiful, why do women have a need to go to the gym when I think they're perfect as they are, and then they have a need to go to the gym? That
A need?
Oh, no.
A need? It's not a need. It's therapy for most of us.
Oh, guys, you need help. But why?
No.
Why?
Hey, listen. Well, I have news for you. I kind of agree with her. It becomes a social thing when you go to a gym. I know for my sister it is. She meets people there that she knows.
Oh, Dr. Mark is bullshit. Girl wants to look wearing the spandex pants and spandex top, and I said they look perfect.
So what you're saying is we're going because it's a meat market. Wrong. It's therapy for us.
Guys, I need help here.
It's time for us to go somewhere and be somewhere where we know we can feel comfortable. It's because it's guys that make us want to go to the gym.
Uh-oh.
We have
when a woman or man goes, listen, when most women and men go to the gym, Dan, I can't help you out because when most women and men who are not going to the gym to go check out the newest styles and see what somebody else is wearing, what they look like, they're there because doing a workout is very helpful, health-wise. It's a big stress reliever, which is very important, and it actually extends your life doing your exercise and doing things like that.
Well, it's not only that. I really have to say, and you're not going to like this, Dan, but
all right, now we're
for the most part, women think that when a man looks at them, They look at their chest, they look at their hips, they look at their legs. They don't look directly into their eyes, and they don't give them a chance to know the person because they're busy, because people are so visual. And it works both ways. It works, I'm sure, for some women too, that they look at the male and they want to see somebody who's like Mr. America or Adonis, and they don't give themselves a chance to get to know the person.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Well, it's usually, but Dr. Marsh, I'm sure you agree with me. It's all visual first.
It's called human nature. Everybody does that. But honestly, I look for the inner person, not the outside. I've been with guys who are bald, fat, thin, skinny, Prince Charming. It's not the looks. It's the person themselves. It's the individual. If that person is going to make me happy, that's who I'm going to be with, no matter what he's like.
Well, Cindy, I agree with you. And the sad thing is that men and women, unfortunately, are too visual when it comes to things like that. And a lot of good people, they lose a lot of good people along the way because they're not giving themselves a chance to really get to know the person.
It's because
that's true.
And superficial.
Exactly. You're 100% right. I agree with you totally.
Well, all right. Wait. I got to talk for a second because, girls who are into sports, football, baseball, what are they looking at?
Oh, my God! Why do you always bring that up?
What are the women looking at when the guys wearing Yankees wearing a uniform?
No. I have news for you. Believe it or not, Dan, there are many women who love sports. They like basketball, they like football, they like hockey.
But what are they looking at? The actual physical sport or the body?
They're looking at the sport. They're not looking at the body. Trust me. If they were looking at the body, they would. Well,
Dr. Mark, I disagree with that one.
Listen, he and I have this discussion a number of times. I personally don't look at the guy's ass. Yeah, they might have a nice one, but I go to the game to watch the game. I'm there. What did I spend all the money for? To see that? If I wanted to look at someone's ass, I would just go into the street and look at it. But that's not me.
Or you go to the gym. It's easier to look at somebody's ass when you're at the gym. When you're at a sporting event, guys in football are wearing all kinds of padding, and in hockey, you can't see anything other than their face.
Look, when I went to the gym, and I haven't been to the gym in a while, yeah, maybe once in a while I would look, but not all the time. I mean, it's natural. It's something human. It's something everybody does. I know all my friends. They'll do it. I mean, it's just something. It's something.
Wait, look, guys, I'm chiming in here because what she's talking about it's human nature. If I walk down the street, some girl's wearing a low-cut top, married or not, I'm gonna look, and I'll get in trouble for it, but it's natural. I mean, that's human nature. You just don't act on it. You can look, just don't touch. I hear crickets on the other end here.
No,
we're paying attention to you.
Like I said, like you said, it is human nature. Okay, what I said along the way was, while the human animal is visual. Okay, when it comes, I really think that what they should also do is have a conversation with the person and get a chance to know them. And especially more than one date, because on a first date, you're all on your best behavior and everything. Invest a little time in a person, because eventually, if that person is a phony and not being who they really profess to be, eventually it'll come out. But you do have to invest a little bit more than a couple of dates in a person to get to know them and just talk to them first. If you're looking for something where it's, a hop into bed and that's it, well, you could do that with anybody, because with women are free to do that as much as men now,
Well, that that goes to me the goes back to the original topic with divorce and stuff. I'm going to get hit right now in a second, but to me, everyone has a role in life. A woman has a role. I like them to work. I like them to take care of the family. But everything changed. My parents stayed together. I think they hate each other, but they stick together.
Hey, Dan. All right, listen. I got to tell you something. Before I got married the second time, okay, I was with a lady who was a little older than me, okay, and we really got to know each other. We must have gone on 10 dates before we actually went to bed, okay? And she happened to say to me, would it shock you to know that I have gone on dates where I hopped into the sack with the guy the first night, And I said, if you had done something like that to me, and let's face it, that was after 11 years of marriage, so I certainly was out of the dating scene. I said I would have been shocked, and I probably would have been scared away, But that doesn't make a person a slut because they jump into bed with somebody right away. The way I look at it, she was feeling me out and getting to know me just like I was feeling her out and getting to know her. So we invested a lot of time in the relationship before we started to get physical.
Well, it's the same topic, but this is weird. How many is too many for you if you're starting dating somebody? I mean, how many, my parents, I think they were both virgins, and they didn't do anything. They're together for 40 years now.
Well, but don't forget.
How many is too many? As far as
back in the 50s, Dan, okay, a male lived at home, a woman lived at home, and for the most part, not all the time, but for the most part, they got married, and it might have been that was the first one that they ever went to bed with, okay? When people started moving out of the house and having a little freedom, the mores changed, and things got to be a little different,
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm clearing my throat.
I disagree.
See, the problem I have with women have the rights to do what they want to do and everything too, but I think they really, all of us have evolved into a problem with the family structure. Women have their rights, and they got their rights, and they work hard, and they work the 40 hours a week too to make the money, and everyone strays. It just not. I just feel that everyone misplaced their roles, and that's why families are falling apart.
No, what's taking families apart?
Much pressure on us.
Oh, I don't know. You hear that, guys? I don't believe that.
I didn't hear.
Guys put pressure on the women. We have to do the same things that you do. We got to get up early. We have to go to work. Then we got to come home. We got to cook for you. We got to clean for you. There's never free time for us. And then if you have kids, you got to get up in the morning, make sure the kids go to school, make sure there's lunches are made, make sure that your clothes are ironed. I mean, where does it end for us? And then you bitch at us when we want to have time to go out with our friends.
Cindy, you sound like a wonderful woman. Will you marry me?
Cindy, I think you're...
Well, look, my problem is that I'm going to get hit again soon. My problem is that, look, us guys, we put the time in, you work hard, and we want to be taken care of when we come home.
Take care of yourself.
That's right. See what I heard?
Listen, the woman works, the man works. Why should the man be taken care of by the woman? You both should be chipping in, and whoever's making the more money, that's working harder, should be one that's maybe taking a little bit easier. But there's no way in hell that a woman should get up in the morning, do all her chores, then go to work, then come home, do all the chores, because a woman just on her own with 2 kids without her job, that's a full-time job already. And I don't leave it to be shit is bullshit because, women were treated unfairly. And I think finally maybe women are getting some of the, what they should have is respect. And if the woman is the earner, if the woman is the earner in the family, then you should be making her breakfast, Dan, and she shouldn't be making it for you.
I don't like you right now, but it just feel like, again, leave it to Beaver, whatever. If a man is making whatever, let's say $100,000 a year, the woman projected herself into the workforce, making the same amount as the man is, but yet they want to have kids and raise them. And to me, a male, I just want to make the money, have food when I come home. But now a woman now is asking to make the same amount of money, $100,000 a year, but she has children with you. And this is the problem that happens. She's got a lot of responsibilities. She has kids. You have kids together, and you work hard together, and both to do the same hours in. But the woman's got a little more work. But the problem lies, why the divorce rate is so high, you go home, you want to be with your woman, and then she's tired.
Because we're up early in the morning preparing everything and then having a career. We want a career. We don't want to just sit home and twiddle our thumbs and clean every day and sit and watch TV all day. That's not what we want to do. Women want to be independent, but we want our own money as well. We want to be able to support ourselves. We don't want you guys supporting us. That was back then. That was way back then. Times have changed. Women have changed. And in the next generation, it's going to be even worse. I cannot wait for the next generation. I wish to God I'd be alive to see this.
Hey, Dan, you got to remember that. Dan, I don't know.
Dr. Mark and Felix has a knife to my throat right now, so I got to be careful what I say.
And Cindy, are you in the same age bracket as Dan?
Say that again?
Are you of the same age bracket as Dan?
I guess, yeah, you could say.
No, because it's not. We don't like to ask age, so just trying to gauge, who. And by the way, I agree with you 100%. Just so you know.
Oh, I'm not calling in anymore on this show. I'm not calling in anymore.
Listen, Dan. If my wife,
Mark goes, I need his expertise on this.
Now, let me tell you something.
A guy deals with the bullshit every day, and now.
And the women don't.
And the women are dealing with the bullshit now too. The problem is, where did the love go? Where did the love go? The woman's tired. She comes home, and respectfully so. Dealing with the kids in school in the morning, which we all join. Say, hey, we're gonna have kids together. You have a couple of kids. But now a woman joins into a man's workforce, and she has the same, structure of fights that, you and I go through.
Why is it considered a man's workforce?
It always has been. But now
that was then. This is now. Get into the times. We're in 2014, okay?
Hey, Dan.
It's not men.
This guest caller, Cindy, is not going to call in.
He's striking out with Cindy.
What? I can't hear you.
Dan. Look at it this way. We're all look at us, look at yourself, look at Cindy, or look whoever else is, and look at it as just being a mannequin. No difference at all. But then the one mannequin that goes out and does all the work and provides the highest income is the one that's going to possibly be more tired, and that other mannequin will have to do more of the household chores. Now, if that mannequin happens to be you, Dan, then you're the one that's going to have to do the work.
No.
At home.
Who suffers, and Dr. Mario, all this fighting with husband, wives, and stuff, divorces, the kids. They're the ones who suffer.
Nobody ever said
no.
Kids.
I agree with you. Listen, life is not fair.
But you don't
and
say
we all know that.
Kids. If you're not happy, you get out of it. Family, I'm from a broken family. My parents separated when I was 9 years old. There was no way they were going to stay because of me. They loved me dearly, both of them. My father was
there
for me. You don't stay in a relationship because of the kids. Yes, kids do suffer. Did I suffer? I got hurt by it. I blamed myself. I thought I was the reason why my parents were separating. I was the reason why my parents got divorced. But as I got older and I understood what it was, I was like, what am I, a fool? My parents fought. I used to watch them fight. I'm glad that they did what they did because it made them stronger and better people. Unfortunately, I lost my father 4 years ago. I love him and miss him dearly, but you know what? I applaud him for walking out on us because it made us stronger.
Listen, if two people are not happy and they're going to stay together for the kids, it's the wrong reason to stay together because you're going to eventually hurt your kids more by staying together than if you separate.
Well, Felix, that's debatable only because my parents, I look at I'm not sure your parents and Dr. Mark's parents. I don't know your history, but my parents fight all the time. But every
relationship has a fight.
They somehow stood together side by side. I don't really, honest to God, I had not seen my parents kiss, hug, hold hands. I had never seen it. Maybe once.
Is that what a husband and wife supposed to do? I didn't know that was part of the contract. Show me part of the contract.
Felix just said you're describing his marriage.
We don't hug and kiss. Of course, we get to do them that is spitting at each other.
The old saying is, my mother told me, everything happens behind the closed door. Just what you see in the street as far as them not kissing, not holding hands, and I always asked why they never did. And my mother told me everything happens when the bedroom door closes.
No, you need to show affection in public. I mean, it shows a sign that the two love each other. Well, my grandparents, for instance, they were married 900 years. Honestly, I don't know how long it was. And my grandmother told me, you never go to bed angry. You work it out.
I agree with you.
And and if you actually fight all the time, if you go to bed mad all the time, then what's the point of being together? If you can happen to be able to work it out. I watched grandparents kiss each other. I watched them hold hands with each other. I think it was the most wonderful thing to see two old people love each other so dearly. And like I said, they were married. I think they were, before they both died, I think they reached like 70 years of marriage or something like that. Because they died in their 90s.
I'll tell you,
it goes back to what Dan says, or what everybody else said. Every era was different. Every time is different. And as we approach more and more years, it's going to be different. Divorce rate might go up more. It might not go up more. People might not even get married. I know a lot of people that don't get married anymore because of the fact that they fear the divorce. I have a brother-in-law that said, it's cheaper to keep my sister than it is to divorce her. And he's right.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, my in-laws are, my father-in-law turned 91 yesterday, and his wife is 88 or 89. And they still kiss each other on the lips. Which to me, I think.
Yeah, but he also doesn't do anything, and he demands a lot of her.
He's a horrible husband, but they do love each other, and as I said, and it's so cute seeing them kiss each other on the lips at that age,
No, you kiss me.
I agree with Cindy with this. Every generation is different. My parents and my they all Never. They stay together forever. That's it. Our generation, you get divorced every, a 7-year itch? Every 7 years you do something different.
Nobody makes it to 7
No,
years.
it's been proven that the 7-year itch is now about 10 years.
10 years? Okay.
Yeah, you know why? Because after you're married, if someone's married 10 years and you get divorced, instant money at the end.
See, the reason why the guys are so scared because the laws. I'm going to hit soon, I feel it.
Oh, you're getting hit.
Because what happens is, Mark and Felix, is that the guys are scared because the laws make it so that if I do get a divorce, I'm effed. Financially effed. I will lose kids. I will lose money. And the divorce rate is so high, the chances of a marriage surviving these years is less than 50%, or higher, I should say, 50% chance of you getting married, being divorced, staying together, and you lose everything.
First of all, the divorce rate is not, I don't think it is as high because people today move in with each other and live with each other first before they actually get married.
Not according to the Catholic Church.
You know, I'm out here. I had a very young professor who taught a course at college in my senior year, courtship and marriage. And he said that, you know, even if you move in together, you're still always at your best behavior. You know, you sign on the line and all of a sudden things change. Now, my wife had a stepsister who was living with some guy for 3 years. They got married and they couldn't even stay together for their first anniversary. So the bottom line is, I don't know how much truth there is in that statement anymore. You know, yes, people live together, but, you know, I don't know if that's any test as to longevity or happiness or anything else. You know, it just makes it a lot easier. You could look at it financially. It's, you know, rather than keep 2 apartments, it's a lot cheaper to have 1 apartment and live together and share things, as opposed to having, you know, having everything separate.
And it's much easier to walk away from the relationship.
Well, you know,
when you're not married, it's always easier.
Exactly, there's no commitment.
Well, the economy, guys, has a lot to do with the longevity of a relationship, and the economy really does, because you really need 2 people to survive in this world. Thanks to Obamacare, had to bring that up, but you got to have 2 people living together to afford, you know, the American lifestyle. You need 2 people. You can't. You're in poverty in $100,000 a year. You're in poverty. You need 2 people to survive. And you got to deal with the things in life. You got to deal with you got to fight with your husband and wife and with the kids, and you got to fight for it because you need 2 people. Unfortunately, because I don't want to get too much economics here and politics, but you need 2 people to survive in this world.
Yeah, that's in New York. That's in New York. Outside of New York, it's much different.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. And I'll tell you from experience. I just recently came back from Florida. I lived there for 2 years. It is the most expensive place, believe it or not. My food bills were tripled. My electric bills were quadrupled. The gas down there was more expensive than up here. The only thing is, certain places in Florida, yes, you could buy a house that's a lot cheaper than here. You could buy a big house that would be like $700,000 here for about $400,000 there. Taxes, yeah, much less. But everything else is higher. The cost of living down there is much higher. I had to leave there. Plus the fact that I hate Florida. Florida's a nice place to visit, but for me, it's not a place to live. And I've been I've been on the West Coast and I've been on the East Coast, and it's bad, especially for the young people. You need to have a profession in order to make it in Florida. Without having a profession, you're done. There are people that are working 2 or 3 jobs in Florida just to make ends meet.
Well, that's like anywhere else, you know. It's tough if you don't make a good salary. It's tough to live almost anywhere.
You can't make a good salary down in Florida or anywhere outside of New York.
Maybe California.
California is much different. I mean, you're talking. California's like New York when it comes to finances. We all know that.
Yeah. But, the whole thing is, listen, people get divorced because they can't get along with each other. And that's the bottom line. It comes to a point where you just can't live together, you get divorced.
Well, why else would you get divorced? Obviously,
exactly.
if you get along with the person, there's no need to be in the marriage anymore.
Exactly. And Dr. Dan, no, it's not Dr. Dan, I'm saying Dr. Mark and Dan over here, understand with my profession, divorce is good.
Our profession sucks, Felix. Our profession really sucks. I don't know the profession moving one box from point A to point B. That's not a profession.
No, I'm talking about my other side, the rebellious Rev. You got to remember, every time there's a divorce, somebody else gets married. Every time they get married, I make money. So let's get divorced and let's get married. Let's get divorced and let's get married. In a lifetime, it used to be only one wedding. Now I can perform 4 or 5 weddings for the same person. Can't lose money that way. It's a winning situation. And I hope nobody's taking you seriously.
No, I'm not. Well,
anyway. I've always told
again, divorce is just hard because it just, the kids are getting, our kids, are getting messed up in these divorces. They really are, my generation at least, my age group, 40s. They're getting messed up, these kids. They really are.
I don't think they are. I really don't think they are at all.
I don't think they're rushing into marriage the way people used to, certainly. I see people working longer and getting themselves secure in their professions before they decide to commit themselves to one another.
The only people rushing to get married are the gays. They're the ones rushing to get married, Mark.
You have to go there?
Well, the only reason that is because for years they couldn't get married, so now they have the opportunity to get married.
I would have to agree with Cindy here. I mean, my son is gay, so I mean, why do you have to bring anything like that up? That has nothing to do with anything.
Because about marriage rate, they're rushing to get married.
Let me tell you something. I stand up and commend every gay person there is. I think it's great that they finally have the way. They're finally out. They can finally express themselves and let them get. There's nobody that can tell someone you can or can't get married. You can't. No one can tell you that.
Well,
hey, listen. You have gay couples that have been together. You have gay couples that have been committed in a union together for 40 years. I mean, it's only because they couldn't get married until now. But I mean,
that's why they're getting married.
They're more stable than some heterosexual relationships that I know.
And again, Dan, the reason why they're getting married now is because you can do it.
Gay married, I have my first cousin's gay, okay? But he's one of those, proud to be gay and everything else. The problem with gay marriage, Dr. Mark and Felix, is that there's a big laws that have to open up now, because now gay people do have children. And now who has the right to the child? It's like mother, father, you split them, but you have two women having a child. The mother has the right, but you got two mothers now.
Dan, I hope you're not shocked by the fact that some gay marriages don't last, just the way some heterosexual marriages don't last. And what they have to do is come to an agreement as to how to share the children, just like anything else.
I don't see gay marriages getting divorced as much as. I mean, I don't know any gay marriages that ever got divorced, to be honest.
Because you don't hear about it. You don't hear about gay marriages getting divorced because now they're getting married.
I think sometimes we need to take a lesson on gay people because they really know how to work a relationship. I have a lot of gay friends, and let me tell you something. Don't look at me like that. I feel very comforting when I'm with them. They're true blue people. They're not phonies. They're not fake. Good for them.
Well, first thing is, what's the difference between a gay person, a straight person, or anything else? They're all people. It doesn't make a difference. We're all born, and we're born the way we're born. If you're born gay, you're born straight, and that's it. It's not a choice. It's not it's not a choice. It's the way you are. And we should just stop bothering people about what they are and let them alone. If you're gay, that's fine. You're gay. You want to get married, that's fine. You're just another human being, and that's the way you were born. You don't get taught to be gay, like they used to say, and you can't get cured from being gay. It's not a disease. It is just a normal part of life.
Well, Dr.
Some
Mark and
people
Felix,
are gay. A lot of animals are gay.
But I don't mind. My first cousin's gay, all right? But you know what? He's going on Facebook. He just got married, actually, to a guy half his age. He comes over holding hands, and I got to explain to the kids why two guys are holding hands. It's kind of weird. How you approach that, I don't know.
At this stage of the game, how old are your kids?
I don't know. I got too many of them. No. Like your other teenagers, 16, whatever, 16, 14, 11.
Why do you have to explain anything?
Why is
I'm
two
sure
guys?
They watch television. They read the newspaper. More and more shows on television finally have gay
and they're
couples.
out in the open.
And why shouldn't they? It's not such a big secret anymore. I don't think they have to explain anything.
I was brought up, Mark, where you look. If my cousin's gay, I love my first cousin. But why do you have to be so flamboyant about it and show it off? And to me, if you're gay,
it took them so long to come out. Let him express himself. We do it. Why can't he?
Some people are that way. Some people aren't. You have heterosexual couples that stop in the middle of the street and give each other a big kiss.
That's right.
I've gone to a few weddings where there was a gay couple there, and then two men or two women are dancing together. What's the big deal?
The big deal is a lot of people still feel uncomfortable seeing a man with a woman, or a woman with a man with a man, or a woman with a woman. And it's not the problem of the gay person; it's the problem of the person that's observing them, because they're not used to it. And they have not accepted.
I have news for you. My dad, who passed away 6 years ago, was extremely accepting of the fact that his grandson, my son, was gay. And at that time, my son was in a relationship with another guy, and they used to visit my father all the time. He on his nightstand, he had a picture of the two of them. They took a picture of the two of them for Christmas. Yeah. They just weren't sitting on Santa's lap. That's all. Yeah. But no, seriously. And my dad changed an awful lot. He really did.
It's part of life. These religious fanatics used to say, we're going to heal them, we're going to take the devil out of them, we're going to make them heterosexual. There's no such thing.
Well, that's pray the gay away. That's Michelle Bachmann and her husband, They're going to pray the gay away. That doesn't work.
That's not part of it. You're born what you are. That's the way, if you want to be religious, that's the way God willed it. If you're a scientist, you're just stuck the way you were born.
Dan was born to live in the 50s with Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best. And we were born in this generation. What can I tell you?
It took me a long time to get over gay people. I used to, when I was 16, 17 years old, I used to work with an extremely flamboyant gay guy. And those days, they didn't come out at all. And he wasn't the problem, I was. I had a hard time accepting that he was gay, and I had a hard time accepting the way he behaved.
And listen, you have to understand that, for many years, in industry, there have been gay people, whether they're male or female, and when they go someplace, they always had a plus one, and usually the plus one was a member of the opposite sex because they couldn't come out and feel free, as Cindy said before, to just be themselves. So they would have a plus one, and it was strictly friends, but this made other people feel more comfortable being around them, and why should they hide what they are? Some people are more flamboyant than others, that's all.
And it's not the gays that have the problem. It's the straight people, the ones that have the problem, that they can't accept it.
No, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, you never see a gay person beating up a straight person.
No, for some reason, and I hate to say this, men have to prove their macho or machismo. So what do? So they go down to the village and they follow some gay couple and they beat up on them in Central Park. I mean, for what?
Because I think it's their own insecurity.
Oh, always. Of course it is. It's their own insecurities. It's them at night by themselves thinking maybe I'm,
maybe I have some homosexual tendencies, and it's homosexual, Dan, is part of nature. They're monkeys. The monkeys that have monkeys that are homosexuals. Every breed of animal, there are homosexuals.
So the Greeks.
No, there you're talking about Greeks and Romans. You see, they were living in a free and open society where it was just as acceptable to have female concubines for men as it was for a man to have a young boy, okay? They just felt that the human body was such where it didn't make a difference who they slept with or who they did what with, and it was always very accepting, but down through the ages, and I hate to say this, religion comes into play, whether it's Orthodox Judaism or whether it's the church and Catholicism.
Muslims,
and they
doesn't matter.
Yeah, and they frown upon it. 10 years ago, we couldn't be having this conversation. Okay, it's just amazing how far it has spread, and I hope it continues to spread because the bottom line is eventually, it doesn't even have to be in the Constitution. They talk about, you should have an amendment that says marriage should be between a man and a woman. I don't think you have to put anything into the Constitution. If people feel like getting married,
they get married.
They get married, and that's it.
And listen. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to talk about this. I would have felt very uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable now talking to you guys about this stuff.
Listen, if I see two guys kissing,
and
I
you're
feel
not
uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable.
Felix, stop talking about us, Felix.
Hey, that's between me and you. What we do. If I see,
I knew there was something wrong with the show. I knew it.
Listen,
hey, Dan, wait a second. Can I ask you a question? You see, you're going to understand my question. Dan, when you see two guys kissing on the street, how do you feel?
You're asking the wrong person.
You are asking the wrong person.
I want to puke.
Now, if you see two women kissing on the street, what do you think of that? Pretty sensual, huh?
I love it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my point. It's sensual. It's all in your mind.
Hey, Dan, I got to tell you, forget about the fact that I have a gay son. I have a friend who's been my best friend for, 53 years, okay? Lives in Florida. When I see him, I don't just shake his hand. I kiss him.
Yeah, but you kiss everybody.
Well, that's beside the point. I wouldn't kiss you, so you're just jealous. But the point is, we also have very dear friends who live here, in Oceanside, and we get together like every other Saturday and play some cards and just my wife's known her forever, And Jimmy and I kiss each other hello and goodbye all the time and don't think anything of it. And you're talking about a machismo Italian here, okay? I mean, when I got my vasectomy and I told him I would hold his hand and go with him to get one, he said, no, that's not my thing, you know, okay? For some reason, he didn't want to get snipped. But that's beside the point, okay? But the bottom line is, Europeans kiss each other. It's a way of expressing feeling. That's all it is.
No, but, you know, no, we're talking about kissing the cheek, not lip-to-lip kissing, I don't think. And I think that's what Dan is talking about, seeing a couple kissing each other on the cheek, not on the cheek.
Yeah, and Dan, wait a second. What you just said, why is it that you get so turned on seeing two women in a porn movie, okay, and that's okay? Well,
right, but
yeah, but you just said
I
you got turned on by seeing.
I don't see a male body being attractive. I don't.
Why do you find that threatening to yourself?
No, threatening. I just uncomfortable with it. I mean, I can say that I'm uncomfortable.
I got news. Hey, Dan, I got news for you. There are a lot of men who have fantastic-looking bodies, and I wish that I had a body like that. You know, but that doesn't mean I'm hopping into the sack with them.
It's not being.
That's the same reason that Cindy. That's the same reason that. Dan, that's the same reason that maybe Cindy wants to go to the gym. She likes to work out. It's a social thing. She works on herself. You know, I mean, she's proud of what she looks like. You know, I mean, I wish I had a body like some of those guys, but I know I don't, and I never will.
And you don't try.
Look.
Well, neither do you. You're worse
I
than
agree
me.
with you. I agree with you. Please, I'm worse than you. Huh.
Look, I guess we're staying on this topic for a little bit, but look, any person, good, bad, gay, white, green, black, whatever, good person. I am just definitely uncomfortable when I see two guys making out. It just kind of freaks me out.
It's because
two women making out, I'll just stare. You know,
that's the way you were brought up that way. It's just the way it is. And, you know, you're part gay, but you won't admit it. That's why it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Not part. He's not just part gay.
What?
You're not just
He's
part
all gay? Ooh.
No, but look, I'm hypocritical. I know that. But I just know.
Are you trying to say that Dan has a problem when he looks at you, Cindy?
I'll take the fifth on that one.
Does he say Sid, how are you, instead of Cindy when he sees you or something?
You see, somebody like Felix and I, who are in our 60s already, you know, I'll be perfectly honest, you know, the equipment just doesn't work the way it used to, you know, and that doesn't take anything away from a pretty woman, you know, as far as that goes. It's just that's just how it goes with me anyway. I don't know about Felix. Well, you know, but I can appreciate a good-looking woman.
Absolutely, and in my dreams, my equipment works just fine. It's just when I'm awake is the problem.
Hey, listen, I used to tell my students when I started teaching, I used to tell them, you know, back in the day, I used to be 6 foot and I weighed 185 pounds. Now I'm 5'3" and I weigh 160. You know, what's wrong with this picture? You know, and I'm bald. So I said, what's wrong with this picture? You know?
And what was their answer?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
So, Felix, let me ask you a question. Now, if you see two guys kissing in the city, you're okay with it? You don't feel any weirdness to it?
I feel uncomfortable.
No, when I'm in the city with Felix, when I'm in the city with Felix, he looks to find a secluded alley, and he drags me in there, and then he kisses me. But he won't do it in public.
I don't know. You know what the thing of it is that I told you, every person, I don't care who you are, religion, whatnot, you're a good person. But, you know, I just have a problem with it. In front of me, I can look the other way. But when you deal with kids, it's so hard when you have to explain to your daughters or your sons and why is two guys kissing. That is kind of weird. I have that experience.
Did you ever stop?
That was before they were all out. Now it's freely. It's absolutely free, and it's at any age.
Well, look at the boycott.
It's at any age,
but look at the boycott in the city for the gay parade. You know, there's still a problem.
No, it's not. You're missing the point on that one.
Dan, you know, you say trying to explain to your children, you know, etc. I mean, suppose one of your children is growing up and going through a point in their lives where they're questioning their sexuality, and maybe you have a daughter who is leaning toward being a lesbian or a son who's leaning toward being a homosexual, you know. I mean, by you saying that you have to explain something to them, they get the feeling that the feelings that they're having are wrong, okay? They have no control over the feelings that they have. You know, as we've said already, you know, you're born that way. It's not a decision, you know. Don't you think in a world that is so prejudiced against homosexual couples that if a person had their druthers, they'd love to be like everybody else, but this is how they were born, and why shouldn't they be allowed to express how they feel and why should they be made to feel, you know, that their behavior is abhorrent to other people, you know?
I guess, Dr. Mark, because I don't understand them. I just don't understand why a guy would want to be with another guy.
You just don't understand.
They're not asking you to understand them. They're asking you to leave them alone.
I'm asking them to leave me alone too, and don't be.
They're not doing anything to you.
Hey Dan, when you go into the bathroom, do you really think the guy next to you was looking down at your pants?
I do.
There's nothing there.
I know. You know what I'm saying. You know, look, that's a joke, but
most people I know stare at the wall until like they're in a daze, you know, where they're looking down at themselves. Nobody's looking right and nobody's looking left. Believe me.
That's true, because they're all afraid of the same thing.
And what would you do if you were in the service? Now, you see, the modern service nowadays, they have a petition between bathrooms, you know, between urinals or between a stall. But back in the day, okay, they just had a bunch of urinals lined up, or they just had a bunch of toilets lined up, and everybody did their business. Nobody was looking at each other. You know, that's one way that you get over it very quickly.
All right, well, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, you brought up a good point, Dr. Mark. Now, when I was in college in UMass, it was an open shower. And then, you know, open shower. There was no covers, nothing. We're all just like kind of like getting hosed down in the military. Just showers, you know, it was like a jail. All open showers. And then you find out later that your friends were gay. And I'm like, what were they doing or looking at? When
are you telling me that you dropped the soap?
No, not like jail, but it was up in college. Up in college, it was open showers, and then you find out some of your friends were gay, and you're like, wait a minute, you know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but you know,
it's kind of weird if you're a man taking a shower with another guys, and that's normal at the football practice, and then.
And the bottom line is, if they were going to make a play for you, you would have known about it a long time before then. Okay.
First of all, they wouldn't be looking at him because they would know that he's not gay, and they wouldn't say, "All right, we're going to turn you gay." There's really, I mean, your thinking is way out there.
This thinking is
I don't like to be friends with somebody to find out he's gay.
Why? You're not going to be friends with him because he's gay?
I was wondering all the time in the shower, what was he thinking?
He wasn't thinking of you. That's
he wasn't thinking, you know. He was thinking of the same thing you were.
You know, I knew somebody in college whose best friend was it was his best friend, and he never knew that the guy was gay. As soon as he found out he was gay, you know, this guy also had a small mind, and it's like, you know, stay away from me. Now, if this guy was going to hit on him, he would have done it a long time before. But what he did was he totally divorced himself from this guy. Why? You know? I mean, growing up, this guy was your best friend. He never made a play for you. all right, you never even thought that the guy might be gay. So how come all of a sudden, because he trusted you to come out and tell you that he was gay, and all of a sudden it's like you slapped him in the face? That's what he did. He slapped him in the face, basically, by saying, well, you know, I don't agree with your lifestyle, and you can't come over to my house anymore because I have kids, you know, and this, that, and the other thing.
You know what it is, Mark? Dr. Mark, it's about a trust issue. If he should have came out earlier and said something, not 20 years later and say, hey.
Do you really think that a gay person is going to risk making, you know, because they're gay doesn't mean they're a pedophile. Most pedophiles are heterosexuals. I have to tell you, Dan, you know, they're not homosexuals. So the bottom line is, I would worry more about a pedophile than I would about a gay friend.
All right, no,
wait a second, Dan. It brings back again. 20 years ago, do you think your friend would come out and say to you he's gay? They weren't out. They couldn't. They had to stay in the shadows. They had to stay in the closet. He wasn't going to come to you and tell you that. And he probably didn't do it knowing the way you are. He would have lost you as a friend. And he didn't want to do that.
Oh, wait, guys. I got to talk because I am talking about a specific person, a friend of mine, and I feel horrible. He was my best friend. How many gay jokes I cracked on him? And now I know why.
Imagine how hard it was for him to sit there and laugh at them, knowing that you were talking about him.
Right.
But you didn't know.
I really wasn't. I was making jokes. And I would, but we all did. And he's there, and he was one of my best friends. But you know what? He doesn't talk to me anymore.
I wouldn't talk to you either.
But I didn't know he was gay.
Hey, Dan, let me ask you something. If your friend was Polish, would you be cracking Polish jokes?
Well, that's a good analogy. I probably would, but that's
actually,
different.
It's a very good analogy because, you know, I mean, how many times growing up did you hear somebody crack a Polish joke or a black joke or a Hispanic joke or a Jewish joke?
I'm half Polish, and I used to hear it all the time. I used to laugh with them at the same time. I would laugh at them.
I understand that, but the bottom line is, there might, you know, a certain part of you probably, you know, had to say to yourself, well, you know, what do I have to listen to this for? You know, I mean, yes, there are comedians and people who crack on everybody. Don Rickles, you know, and Andrew Dice Clay, and many other comedians. You know, they would just, you know, hit on everybody. But the point is, then you have people like Sinbad who just have clean humor, you know, and they don't say anything about anyone, yet they're funny, and people come to see their concerts, you know. It's just, why should anybody have to be subjected, you know, to gay jokes? You know, gay people certainly don't make, I mean, when you have a gay comedian, do they make heterosexual jokes? I mean, maybe when, you know, if they're standing up in front of an audience and that's part of their thing, maybe they do. But for the most part, they're not going to be talking about heterosexuals.
I'm lost at words right now on that
one. Me too. I'm lost in words too. But, you know, as far as not even a Polish joke, I mean, I must have hit so many times tonight, but, you know, this is the reason why I don't know why Polish have that, you know, I guess they're, you know, the dumb Polish, but, you know, they have a name for a reason.
Because society.
Look, I tell you guys something.
Look, Dan, I'm the one. I've got the worst of all worlds, if you look at it that way. My parents are both Jewish. I mean, one was Jewish, one was a Catholic. They're both Polish.
Okay,
and I was born in Israel.
You guys something funny. This is funny. I had a Polish. Listen to this one. I had a Polish girl working for me, and this is why they get the bad rap. Now we used to do the lotto pool, and we all signed our names on the back of the ticket. And this Polish girl was signing her name in pencil on the back of the ticket. I could never stop laughing when she did that. She was a wonderful girl, very nice, and she signed a lotto ticket in pencil. And that's,
was that because she was Polish? Was that because she just wasn't bright?
I don't know.
Maybe she just trusted you that you weren't going to screw her out of her share if you guys won.
I wouldn't have. I just signed. I've never seen anyone sign a lotto ticket in pencil. I never seen that. Sorry, I had to say it.
No, well, Dan. For many years, I used to do a lot of tickets with friends, and nobody ever signed it. It was just trust.
Well, yeah, no, we've done lotto tickets before. It just, the pencil part just kills me. It kills me. It's too funny. I never afford my life. What's going on in the world? Why everyone's dying in China, Malaysia, whatever? What the hell's going on? With the boat sunk? I mean, Jesus.
Why?
Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't get it. Can't find a plane. We just lost another with that boat that capsized. I don't understand this world. I really don't. And it goes back to religion. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in what God would sink a ship and kill 200-something people? What God would make a plane disappear and we lose all these people? What God does that?
There are certain catastrophes that you cannot control. Always remember that.
Well, we had this religion talk before. I just don't get it.
Well, what God will
pretty much why Dr. Don went to the Unitarian. I don't understand. I really don't.
Well, listen, what God will almost eliminate a whole race.
I mean,
it's not the God that eliminated the race, it's the human beings that did it.
But, it's Passover. It's supposed to be a happy time, happy Eastover, happy Easter and everything else.
Whoa. Passover?
No,
happy?
I said no, Passover is not supposed to be happy. Easter is supposed to be happy. But I'm just saying.
Passover is a very happy holiday.
You're finally getting.
You're celebrating the Jewish exodus from Egypt. They were no longer slaves. They were actually free.
Yeah, but when you have a family like mine and you got to sit at the Seder table and wait and pray and wait and you don't eat until 10 o'clock, you're not so happy.
Hey, listen, there used to be, back in the day, I remember going to my grandparents, and shul didn't let out until 8 o'clock. My grandfather didn't get home till 8:30. By the time we started the Seder and everything, we didn't really start eating till 11:30 practically.
Right.
Okay.
I remember those Seders too. My grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, we'd all be together. And when my grandfather and my uncle were alive, oh my God, we went, by the book. We couldn't even cut any corners. And for kids, it's tiring. We're sitting at the end of the table. We're like, come on already. We're starving. We want to eat.
Well, the thing is, we were kids then. That's the whole thing, I was a young teenager of 14 or 15. I had to go to school the next day. Just like my father had to go to work and everybody else had to go to work.
Are you telling me that you never snuck a little something, a little piece of masa when nobody's looking?
No, because it wasn't anywhere near us. They were smart. They kept everything on the other side of the table.
Hey, listen, Felix is still looking for the afikomen. And they wonder why.
It's part of the Seder that I used to love.
They wonder why Elijah's cup is empty. It's because Felix is busy drinking the wine.
Hey, listen. Exactly. You know how long our Seder took this year?
Well, the Evelyn Wood Speed Seder course. We were slaves and we're free. Amen. Say grace. Grace. Let's eat. No, that's it.
No, the only part we say is now it's time for the festive meal. And that's it.
We just went through it all. I mean, it's nuts. And even now, my family. I mean, we cut corners though, but I mean, it's a long process.
All right, so listen, Cindy.
That's how you were brought up. That's all.
Before we have to hang up and say goodbye and good night, are you at all free to come on the show again, or is Dan not going to invite you anymore?
She's not invited anymore. She pissed me off. I got hit too many times.
He didn't get hit.
Well, we could give her the phone number and she can call at home. She doesn't need you to talk to us.
Thanks, Dr.
Dan,
much.
That's okay.
Dan, we're all like a ball. We just bounce right back. When I started off the show, I was probably one of my nastiest moods I've been in a long time.
And we actually made him laugh today.
I was very upset about a lot of things.
Upset? You should have been sitting where I was sitting. This guy was passing gas like there was no tomorrow.
I was extremely upset. But
well, look, at least I didn't hear you pass gas.
Oh, boy, you're lucky.
Well, they say those are silent and
SPD, silent but deadly.
Mine are loud, but they're really nothing. There's no.
You weren't smelling what I was smelling. Let's put it that way. Anyway.
All right, guys. Well, look, I'm signing out. I'm checking out.
Thank you very much for calling.
Cindy, thank you for calling.
It's been a pleasure. And
I don't know.
an honor having another opinion other than ours.
And then we always enjoy you calling. You know that you or Dr. Don or
Dan will be on Friday again. So I hope you'll be around.
No life.
Cindy, if you're like one of us,
Cindy, listen,
we have no life. So
that's it. If we had a life, would we be doing this? Come on.
It's a good escape. You actually do get a chance to express how you feel.
Actually, as I explained to my cousin, who's a little older than me, I said, I love doing this show because I could still walk down the streets of Oceanside and nobody knows who the hell I am because it's on the radio. So nobody knows what I look like.
What's the next
Even
topic?
though he has a big sign, I'm on radio, but nobody seems to pay attention to him anyway. What were you saying?
No, the next topic, we haven't decided. Don't forget, this was a last-minute topic. So
this was just a topic of rage. Well, what we'd like to do is, why don't you talk with Cindy and tell us what you'd like to talk about.
She may not want to be a regular.
I don't blame her.
Or a semi-regular.
I don't blame her, but if you do want to talk about something, the whole idea of the show is to, we'll talk about anything and everything. We tend to do it best when we discuss religion, politics.
You call you guys the coffee club, but I never had one cup of coffee myself when I talk to you guys, not one.
I don't know why. Felix and I always drink coffee. Although I have to tell you, he was so upset, he poured himself a scotch about 20 minutes ago.
But I'm drinking it out of a cup of coffee, out of my coffee cup.
I don't have coffee. I drink something else before I call, but I don't have coffee. But
you probably drink what Felix just had. A little scotch.
Listen, it doesn't matter. It's the thought behind it. The idea of the coffee club means we're just here to talk, relax. We're not, there's no pressure on this show. We're not here to change the world because we know in reality we can't change it if we want to.
It's just giving each other another venue as far as expressing how we feel. So Felix doesn't walk around totally depressed and angry, so he can come on the radio and tell you what's going on with him. Or
I'll sit down.
I could go on the radio and make some sense out of what he's trying to say.
Yeah. I'll babble on, but by the end of the evening I'll feel better.
Exactly.
And just remember, I also have my counterpart, the rebellious Rev, and I enjoy, and we always do a plug for the rebellious Rev that we'll I'll do a wedding anywhere as long as it's sunny and nice in the Caribbean, and somebody else pays the bill. I'll be glad to go marry them. So.
But anyway, we certainly hope, Dan, that we gave the two of you a chance to express your feelings, and the whole thing with Dan is we may have a topic, but as soon as Dan calls up, it's anything goes. So that's fine.
But today we stuck with the topic.
I don't think women should be in the military.
How did save that for Friday because it's too late now.
Yeah, we only got
I'm playing a joke with you guys.
We only have 4 minutes, 2 minutes before we get cut off. So you know what we'll do? That's the topic. Should women be in the military like every other part of the world? They'll accept here. All right, wait a second. I don't know. Cindy, are you listening?
Yes.
Listen to this.
There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
That's Felix's other identity.
There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection.
Wait. That's
the Felix talk. We always flush everything down the toilet.
No, Dan requested the toilet, so he got his toilet flushed.
All right, you flush me down the toilet tonight. I'm going to bed.
All right.
Good night. I'll talk to you on Friday.
Cindy, it was nice meeting you, Cindy.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for listening to our show. I hope you had a good time. I know I started off the show today being in a miserable mood.
And now you're actually smiling. If I passed as much gas as you, I'd be smiling too.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, that's because my wife tried to poison me. It didn't work.
Well, we can talk about that Friday also.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening to the show. And Mark, wait till I shut the show up before you start getting up and running out the door. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. It was a pleasure.